Time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace, former Ottawa Senator Jason York, and Sean Simpson.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks for joining us later than usual. Hi, Simmer, Brent Wallace, and Sean Simpson, bringing you Coming In Hot. As, of course, our president of the creative committee is out creating a masterpiece on the golf course.
Yeah, just a gorgeous day out there as well. And I know a busy one for you, Wally Vision. Very active again, as we saw some old school skating from Coach Green. Right?
We will get into all of that because I was anxious to see. I'm like, well, maybe this has been overblown. We will discuss this and dissect it as we get going. We will hear from Brady Tkachuk, Linus Ullmark, and Claude Giroux in the show. Josh Norris did talk. I do have quotes from him we will get to. There's lots going on. And during the show, we have not one, but two sets of tickets to give away to the Buffalo Sabres pregame show. Both come with parking. I want to say Etienne just emailed the show this afternoon. Lecomte, if I say it right, if I don't, I apologize. He's like, I'd like to donate 2 tickets to you as well. So we're going to give away 2 tickets. Yes, we have a great community, Simmer, as you've been finding out here. I'm super thrilled with the people that we have watching the show. And so thank you to Etienne, and we will get out 2 sets of tickets. But you got to watch the show because we're going to do it during the show.
Yeah. No, I end up having a little trivia action you're going to end up going with?
Hey, so I'm a little unprepared. So Simmer, today has been a day. And as I'm
all across town, everywhere.
As I'm trying to cut some sound for the show, my computer, which I hadn't obviously downloaded this much sound and pictures before, I couldn't. It didn't have any space, so I just started deleting stuff. I have no idea if I just got rid of my daughter's first walk. I don't know what's happened.
Might be your wedding album as well.
Yeah, so
everything's
gone. How today's going to play out? If you don't see me again, I deleted the wedding photos.
That's awesome. Well, busy day. We'll go with the little double duty, hey? A little bit of Ottawa Senators and also some Red Blacks. And exciting, we don't talk football at all. Not that we should. We're a hockey broadcast, but exciting where they're headed. And you mentioned to me that looks like they got a pretty good crowd coming as well.
They're expecting. They think maybe it could be close to a sellout.
Well, that's awesome.
And they should be. Like, that's been a great team this year. 8-4-1. Yeah, haven't lost at home. They're going to face the Alouettes, so it's the 2 best teams in the league. Anyway, it and the weather's been fantastic. So
yeah, it really has. Yeah. No, and it's just nice to see. That's such a great group over there with Mark Gowdy, and unfortunately, they have not had very good years recently, and the crowds have suffered. But it is nice to see that the market is responding, and I'm sure the Ottawa Senators are thinking the same way. Hey, let's get off to a good start here, and that's certainly if you build it, they'll come. Or I guess if you win, they'll come.
Like if they win Saturday, 3 p.m. by the way, they clinch a playoff spot for the first time since 2018. So 6 years.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, apparently everybody is fine that I deleted a bunch of stuff according to the chat, which is good. Let's move on. Let's get to practice, shall we? Started at 10 a.m. this morning. Brady Tkachuk, the first on the ice today. Linus Ullmark and Dustin Tokarski, the veteran goalie, which they signed, who played in Pittsburgh and Buffalo last year. Interesting choice. We didn't get to talk to Steve Stais today, the GM, about the decision. But Linus Ullmark said, well, there was a goalie that they needed to fill. And I'm like, well, they've got 2.
Yeah.
They've got Forsberg and Ullmark. And then they've got
sure.
Maralainen and Sogard. So maybe they're just not sold yet on Linus Ullmark. Or sorry, oh my God, on Levi Maralainen.
I don't know. Sometimes you'll look at this and you'll say, hey, what do you end up wanting to do with a young goaltender with Maralainen? Do you want to send him to the East Coast League and have Tokarski backing up a Sogard? So it could be philosophically, it could be injury. And let's be honest, over the years, Wally, I don't think there's been an organization that's had more goalie injuries at the NHL and AHL level than the Ottawa Senators. It's just been incredible, the run that they've had. So can never have any depth. And I think also from an East Coast League standpoint, I think they're one of 3 teams that are splitting. I can't even recall the city that they're going to be using. So, it could end up being that. But, I guess we'll find out as camp goes on. Hopefully everybody's healthy.
Former teammates, by the way, Levi Maralainen is injured. I did forget to bring that up.
Yeah.
I apologize. But yes, I don't know what the extent is of that. But
no.
Ullmark and Tokarski, teammates in Buffalo a couple years ago, I think during COVID.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw Daniel Alfredson in some of the clips as well, taking some shots on Ullmark, getting them all warmed up. So yeah, sweet on sweet. Always like to see that.
And at the end, I don't know if I have it in the show or not, but Alfie is standing at the end when they're skating, and he just looks over at me because he can see me taking some, and he kind of just smiled, like, I don't have to do this. And
no, exactly. Yeah, that and it's funny with Luke Richardson when he was coaching in Binghamton. He used to put the equipment on, actually skate with the guys.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think many guys or many coaches are in that capacity right now, or physically in that kind of shape where you're going to step in and end up trying to do the drills. You'd probably end up embarrassing yourself.
Luke Richardson, I remember he would teach fighting on the ice after with the guys in Binghamton. It was Binghamton. Yeah, like players absolutely love playing for him.
Oh yeah, and I thought it was great. I think tactically to show guys how to do things defensively, for a coach, even for a goalie coach, I'm a little surprised that the goalie coaches at even the lower levels don't throw on the equipment a little bit more. I mean, I do think that's a hard thing to do because let's face it, going into the old butterfly position without any equipment on isn't a whole lot of fun. So no, it was very cool. And Luke took such pride in his fitness. I mean, he was always just in great shape.
You played with him, right? He was on the World Junior team?
Yeah, he was. Absolutely. Yeah. 1987. Yeah. So I got to know him then, was drafted that following summer by Toronto and stepped right into the National Hockey League and never looked back. He went right. We had a number of younger players, including Jimmy Waite, Pierre Turgeon, Brendan Shanahan, Chris Joseph, a bunch that were eligible for the 1987 draft.
I'm shocked that Team Canada had a bunch of good hockey players.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's also funny though. It is a bit of a myth because you go back to it and people look at teams on paper sometimes, Wally. And if you're being honest, on that team, our best line ended up being Dave McElwain, Patty Ellinuck, and Dave Latta. That was actually our best line, where you would think, Turgeon's there and Shanahan's there and Theo Fleury's there. But no, it was actually that group that was really the most effective, along with Jimmy Waite in goal.
Well, and Sean Simpson, the hammer, if you will. All right,
yeah.
Let's move on. I will say, watching practice today, you could feel like even Travis Green at center had a commanding presence of the entire time that this practice took place. Just watching him, and he had some moments. He wasn't overly thrilled with some of the stuff. He wasn't letting up in day one. And I remember he blew down practice at one point and said, he almost wanted to refer to, this is why you guys were kind of bad defensively last year, but it was of, you guys want to get better defensively, then you can't let 3 of the last 4 drills be odd man rushes. I believe there was some other choice language in there as well. He made it very clear that this is unacceptable, and people started to pick it back up.
Yeah, interesting tone and tactic, and I like the hard work. And again, I've seen this in the past with the Ottawa Senators and other teams, and it's fine. But I have no issue with it because, like I said, I think you're coming in as a new coach, Wally. You're trying to set a tone. What you're really trying to do at the end of the day, because most of the guys, if not everybody's in great shape, it's attention to detail. I mean, that's where the Ottawa Senators have gone wrong. It's not from a lack of effort. Everybody in the National Hockey League works hard. It's actually working with a purpose. And so that'll be the interesting part as they move along in camp and probably in the games themselves as to how he ends up approaching that with some of the younger players who have not necessarily played properly in the past.
Evident today. You saw it, like Brady always would smile. And I think him and Nick Cousins have already become besties. Every time
Tkachuk family just has a love affair with Nick Cousins. Hey, I can see why though. Like I'm sure Dad was raving about him, Matthew was raving about him, and now Brady's got him as a teammate. So that's an interesting combination, and I guess just comfort level. And for Cousins, who played with Claude Giroux and I think played with a few other guys, but to have the captain welcome you that way coming into training camp, certainly a nice feeling.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, the practice was good, intense, obviously, all that stuff. Linus Ullmark. Shocker, did look good. We're going to hold off on this video for a sec, TJ. Not the one that I was thinking of, but it's my fault. I probably labeled them wrong.
Just watching some of the clips of Ullmark, I'm just saying to myself, Wally, it'll be nice to see an Ottawa Senators goaltender that can actually catch the puck. I mean, after watching Murray and Korpisalo, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic at all, it was frightening with Murray. Like, it was bizarre the way he did it. And with Korpisalo, he would almost move out of the way on the glove side. So when you watch Ullmark, you can certainly see he's an excellent first save goaltender. He's such a technician. And then the other part, you just realize how bloody big he is. And they put on that equipment these days with the monster shoulder gear and the pads and everything else. And that is a lot of net that's already covered for you. And like I said, excellent first save goaltender.
Before we get to Linus Ullmark sound, friends who are watching the show, if you want to win tickets to the Buffalo Sabres game, we have 2 sets, includes parking. Thank you to Michael and Etienne. Here's all you need to do. Email cominginhotsends@gmail.com. Not that, TJ.
That's the food donation.
And just tell me how many 20-goal scorers the Ottawa Senators had last season. That's it.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll get to it a bit later.
Am I right in saying, Wally, we have 3 sets of tickets, not 2 sets?
No, well, you are wrong.
Oh, I thought Mike Mike donated 2 sets and Etienne donated 1.
No,
so
Mike donated 2 tickets. I may have said yesterday 2 sets.
Okay, good. No, it's awesome.
So, great. I'm, super happy that they want to do that and help other fans out if they can't go. Okay.
Yeah.
So, back to today. Let's just go to Linus Ullmark because he's fun. He also grabbed my mic at the beginning because it's on a mic stand because I'm only one person. He's like, "Oh, I have my own mic." I'm like, "Please don't knock it over, please."
Friend of the show.
Right? And then I asked him a question. I think I took it out, and I was like, "Are you anxious to get going?" He's like, "Well, what do you mean? I don't understand." And I'm like, "Oh, don't do this to me." And so then I said, "Are you excited?" And then he answered the question. So without further delay, Linus Ullmark from today.
It's certainly nice to get it started. It's been a long road ever since the trade. So getting on there and feeling like the rhythm and the speed and feeling like now we're talking, now we're back in business was a nice feeling. I don't think there's a lucky number or a target or anything like that. Definitely, you came here with my goal is to play more than 50 games, and to do that and be able to put up the numbers as well together with the fellas is something that my initial goal is. And if it turns out to be 55, 60, 75 or whatever it may be, it all comes down to basically how I'm playing. I think so. And Forsey is a tremendous goaltender as well, and you got to ride a hot hand sometimes. And for me as well, I have to put that kind of expectations on myself to perform at most of the times as well, because that's just how hockey is sometimes. You can't perform every night, but you got to bring the best out of your capabilities. Doesn't matter if it's 60, 70, or 100.
So he's excited to play, and he wants to play as much as he can.
Yeah, he's a smooth operator. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I wish I had played the position that way where it feels like he's so carefree. And the other thing we've touched on a million times, but big part of Boston's success to them was pushing each other. I mean, Swayman's one of the top 10 goaltenders in the National Hockey League. Ullmark's one of the top 10. Now you have a combination of Forsberg. And again, I think it'll just be very, very healthy competition. And when you're trying to play that many games, to me, in the modern day National Hockey League, and realistically for where the Ottawa Senators are at, I think, Wally, it's so important physically and mentally for a goaltender that you legitimately have someone behind you pushing you versus just some guy that's kind of sitting on the bench and not going to be worrying about it. I just think that really keeps you sharp mentally and just healthy competition. There can be absolutely nothing more. And hey, they're friends, but I think they're going to bring it to the rink every day. And I think they're going to push each other every day. And I think it'll be a hell of a tandem for the Sens.
And I also get the sense like Linus Ullmark wants to put any doubters' questions aside. If anybody thinks that just because he played in Boston, that's why he was a Vezina Trophy winner, I think he's driven to shut people up.
Yeah, I think he's also driven the simple fact of, they chose Swayman, which I don't disagree with. And that's a healthy competition in itself as to who you'd rate to be the better goaltender. No, I think, you got lots to prove. And there's also, I've touched on, hey, it'd be great if you got a contract signed before the start of the year, but it's also not a bad thing when you have a guy like that. You have a Giroux that are super motivated where they want to stay here and they want to be successful for the team, but they're also playing for a new contract. He wants to, as you said, bring it where, okay, it wasn't Buffalo, although he put in pretty good numbers, but with Swayman, it was kind of a 1A, 1B. And even last year in the playoffs, they ended up going to Swayman versus going to Ullmark. You want to now, set that next level, set that bar and show people, hey, listen, no matter who my backup is, I'm a certified #1 goaltender in the National Hockey League, and I'm going to deserve the big payday.
I do. There is one moment from Linus that was very entertaining, and so I just want to play it separately. I know it takes us off track a bit, but he was asked basically about Brady being a new dad and what it was like to have this kind of life-altering moment and how you approach it. Here is Linus Ullmark.
Oh, buddy, it's a big one. No, I just said welcome to the shit show. That's what it is, man. It's all love. That's what it is. You get to really experience what is important in your life, because that's what it is. Once you have your first kid or whatever, it doesn't matter if you get a second or third or fourth. Whenever they show up in your life, that's the best thing that ever happened to you. So I'm very excited to meet them. I'm very excited for them. And it's such a blessing for everyone to become a parent. And coming home after games, doesn't matter if a win or a loss, is a lot easier.
Anyway, just entertaining. Right, you get I would love to sit and have a beer probably with Linus Ullmark.
Yeah, well, and just incredible perspective, Wally. And hey, we're both parents. You understand how life-changing. What people don't understand that don't have children, though, is, okay, everyone's excited for when the baby comes. Now, all of a sudden, the baby's born. That's where life is interesting. And from Brady Tkachuk's standpoint, and let's be honest, during a hockey season, the player has to be a little bit selfish and put a lot of focus on himself. You need the support for mom, you need support for the baby and everything else. And I'm sure he has lots of family around, but it is, like I said, it's hey, well, it's just different. I mean, I at least for myself, maybe because I was adopted, but I never really understood what true love was until you end up having children.
Absolutely. Life altering for sure.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. But also just everything he says. And it's such a, I hate to be, I wouldn't say I'm not a Sens fan, because I love to see them do well from an Ottawa perspective, and I think the fans deserve it. But man, oh man, do I want to see Linus Ullmark have a great year. Like I just feel like what's going on with the energy of the team and the faith that people are putting into him. It almost feels like he's the old Messiah and the savior coming in. So you're just wishing. It's hard not to cheer for the fella, I guess is my point, just by his demeanor and the way that he's welcomed Ottawa, and just by the way he's handled things with the media as well. Not to mention when we had him on the show.
He was fantastic as a guest on the show. Quickly, I'm going to announce the winners of the tickets, because every time I get an email, which has been about 50, my computer flashes, and I don't know if this thing is going to launch or shut down. So just
you're going to go into some virus saver. You're going to need to add something else. Hey, someone's sending you a worm or a bug or some type. Hey.
We should never have gone to 4 shows. So the winners of the tickets, Chris Harrison, first in, you get the 100 level tickets. Domenico Tullo, or Tullo, you are the second winner to the 300 level tickets. All right. I will contact you guys after the show. Thank you to everybody, but stop emailing me, because I don't know if my computer can handle it.
And what is the answer, Wally?
3 20-goal scores.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't, to be quite honest with you, wasn't sure of that. So yeah, we'll have our poll question a little bit later that we'll talk about projections for Mr. Josh Norris as to hopefully having a full season and how many goals he might end up getting.
So yes, so I will hold off then on Josh Norris chat until then. Now next up, Brady Tkachuk. Everybody wants to hear from, since he just got back, the new dad and all. Here from practice, Brady Tkachuk.
Get you to comment on how you feel after a first day on the ice, but first comment on the first couple of days of being a dad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think first and foremost, it's been unbelievable. Emma was a complete trooper throughout the whole process. I know it's a lot longer than probably both expected, but she was amazing, and it's just I mean, I can't really describe the feeling. It's leaving yesterday was a tough goodbye, but I know I'll see him in a couple of days, and but yeah, it's been amazing to be back here with everybody and kind of get things going for this year. It's just a great time there. You see old videos of past those skates and guys hurting, and but you could just see the work ethic that everybody put in this summer, and that everybody passed with flying colors. I mean, just a grind. But we did a couple hard skates in the past, but no, it's just it's nice where you have a lot of time to kind of glide and get your legs going, and just the stopping's of course the worst. But you know what, it was a great skate to finish off a great day one. Yeah, he was. I'm really looking forward to playing it from him. I think I could speak on behalf of the group. It's it's definitely commanding, but I think we're ready for that challenge and ready for what he brings for us, and it's everybody's on the same page and working for the same goal. So yeah, we're all just excited that got day one and ready to go for day two tomorrow.
Does he have a main message to the group?
I mean, it's just there's a couple things that as a group and of course myself individually can work on, but just hammering about we want to be a team where teams flying and they're not excited to play against us because we're well conditioned, well organized, detailed, and just a hard-working group. So I showed out there today that that's step one, and we're just going to keep getting better.
Summer for your family, celebrating Matthew, your own families, everyone here now. Describe your state of
I mean, I don't even think excited is even the right word to use. It's starting with Matthew and seeing what he did and how many smiles and joy he brought to my family. It just kind of became addicted to that feeling myself, and something that I want to provide for here and my teammates and my friends, family as well. So kind of start off with that, and just with the baby, just realize what's really important, and just want to be somebody that he's proud to look up to and be a good role model for him and be a good dad and husband. So it's a lot of lessons this year, and I'm just excited to be back with the guys and try to lead us to where we want to go.
And Brady did talk too low because he stepped away from the mic. So I apologize for the audio issue. I was like, damn it, Brady. Tough not to get excited when you're around Brady. He makes everybody feel good. He played on the line today. If anybody cares about lines, he's with Tim Stützle, and then Nick Cousins was the other winger. Mostly Paris today.
Yeah, just fun to speculate and to look at, but just the tone. And I mentioned that the other day. It's just nice to hear from him, and what an incredible summer. Again, as he said, they're such a close family. They're such great people. He's so close with Matthew. He shared in that joy, and now he wants to provide that joy, and now he becomes a father. And just the overall tone, Wally, of the training camp. And I know there's a lot of cliches, and every team's saying the same things. But it certainly feels like, based on where the young group is at, just physically, mentally, maturing, along with the players that they brought in, there is just a completely different tone. And I can't really recall the last time it felt like this around the Ottawa Senators, where everything's pretty much in place. There's no discussions and there's no distractions and there's nothing crazy happening off the ice, not that we know of, but it just feels right. Like, it just feels like, hey, there is an actual common goal. There's a lot of pride in the brand, in the jersey itself. And there is I'm assuming, a common goal that, hey, it is not acceptable to miss the playoffs again.
And Brady alluded, like, Brady was asked about just, no distractions. It feels really good. Drake Batherson said the same, like, everybody who's been around it just kind of breathes a little, like they just go, so we just, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and also I know it's just the first day, Wally, but there's been so many situations in the past where the tone in training camp was set where, a minute in Del Zotto, you watched him and you're like, what the heck's going on here? When Stepan trade was made, the whole feel with DeBrincat, like, it just felt like everybody was lying, right? That it wasn't the proper energy. Guys were just saying what they thought that the media and that the fans wanted to hear. And it doesn't feel like that now. Like I said, that tone is set, and it's often set with any company, starting right from the very top with ownership, traveling down to the management group, to the coaches, and to the players. Now it just feels so different. I'm assuming this is what it felt like with the Ottawa Senators way back in the day when they went to the finals, and just previous to that when they had such great teams. It feels like they're back on track again.
It's just calm. Like, you can't understand it till you're around it, but I can just tell you, it's just, there's a calm around everybody. There's no one. Like, it used to be, everybody would be trying to shut you down or say no, or to keep you out of here, or do this, or like, it's like, no, like, we're going to do this today, and we're doing this here, and this, like, it's just, everything is calm.
Yeah.
So
And now I will say there's big love affair. Now, as the season starts and as an organization, it'll be interesting to see how they handle criticism. Certainly
yeah,
having worked in the
yeah.
position I did and the position you were in previously, at times it was not a whole lot of fun, to be nothing more than honest, and then how that was handled. So we'll see as an organization, and I have no problem with them having pride. But let's face it, with the way they're being represented off the ice with the Cyril leaders of the world, the Ian Mendes, Saint Laurent, it's just a different feel to it. Now they all respect and protect the brand a little bit, but you feel that professionalism, and you want to be professional showing back to them as well.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, like Ian and I have had conversations about people used to have this misconception or this thought that podcasts and whatever can just say whatever they want and do whatever they want. And I said, Ian, like, we'll be fair and factual. And he goes, we
Yeah.
understand that. Like the management understands, the players understand. You can still criticize and be factual. And
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
that they're okay and they're, I won't say open to it. No one likes criticism, but they
No, they don't. No, they
understand
don't.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you
So
have to. I thought as crazy as Don Sweeney was yesterday in his little presser, he said it right. You know what I mean? It's one thing to speculate; it's another thing to be factual, and that's all we ever try to do. And I learned that the heavy hard back when I started out with Bobby Ryan and being critical. It was nothing personal, but what also happened, and a great lesson for myself, was
yeah.
what it turns into on social media becomes such a different thing, where
Mhm.
you're always trying to back your point and you're trying to hold your ground, and it does become too much, and I think that's something nice to avoid. Hey, save your opinions for the show. Not that you can't have opinions on social media, but have that opportunity. And like I said, it is a love-in right now, but I'm also the type of person, I think everybody knows the way I've covered it for a long time, I'm also brutally honest. And like I said, for right now, it all feels awfully good, and let's just hope that continues long.
There are going to be some long nights without question, as there is
Oh,
every
for sure, for sure.
see how they weather that. I'm
Yeah,
just hoping,
yeah,
as everybody else is, it may not be
yeah.
until December.
Yeah. Well, that is the part of
Uh,
I don't even know, and I mean this so sincerely, Wally. I don't even know what they do. Like, I don't know how, as an ownership group, when you've gone out, and even as players, and you're aware of this as well, players are constantly checking social media to see what changes and what's additions. And when it comes to the trade deadline, if you're in a playoff spot, what move are you going to make? When it comes to free agency or the summertime, well, you can't, as a player, not look around. And I'm not saying that they brought in, superstar players, but there's no way that you can't look at it and say, okay, not only did we make smart moves, we brought in good people, but there was also a method to the madness. It wasn't just all of a sudden trying to make a trade to end up selling a few tickets. It's like, okay, boy, that actually makes sense where that player is going to fit. We needed a goaltender, which was the biggest thing. Unloading of Korpisalo's contract. Needed another right shot defenseman. You bring in a Nick Jensen. Like, as a player, you can't look at any of this, and at least the sum of the parts right now. We'll see how good they are. I don't even have a prediction. We talked about it yesterday as far as the playoff spot, but you can at least look at the sum of the parts and say, okay, this management team knows what they're doing here. There's a real purpose what Mr. Steos and Dave Poulin and everybody did in the offseason.
it was all business today.
Yeah.
And so I want to get to the skate test that everybody's been talking about, because this was the highlight of the day, except for the players who were part of it.
Yeah.
And TJ, you can show the the video of Greener. So this is Travis Green. Um, so he's now explaining the skate drill to the players. You can see Tim like, you mean up, back, up, what?
That's where you're pretending you don't know English as well, right?
Yeah, I know. What do you
You're
mean?
like, I don't understand what's going on.
So they're all excited now. And then there's Alfie's like, I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah.
So anyway, the skate test goes on. I'm gonna say it was like 20 minutes. I'm pretty sure it's 5 lengths. And he said, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard him right, he had to be under 41 seconds each time.
Yeah.
And so they got to it. It was entertaining to watch because who doesn't like to see people in a little bit of discomfort?
Well, and I don't care how good a shape you're in. I mean, in all the skates they end up doing, you don't push yourselves. And I'll be honest with you, there were a couple of people put the memes out on Twitter today. If anybody's watched the movie The Miracle about the 1980 Team USA team, this really feels like the old Herb Brooks, in the bag skates and skating them after games. But right now, this is not punishment at all. This is working with a purpose, working together. And there can be so much, and even the way guys train off the ice now, doing the circuit training, different things, Wally, there can be so much team bonding just in simple things like doing that, trying to push each other properly, showing what great shape you showed up in training camp. And that can be a real bonding situation versus feeling like, middle of the season where it ends up being a punishment.
Yes. So, and the players understood it, right? It was well explained and people.
Oh, yeah.
Were prepared for it. So,
and you don't want to be embarrassed as well. I mean, that's the other part. And, okay, if you're a first-year player, you've just been drafted a little bit different. But when it comes to the pros and the expectations of, and I love this back when I was involved with teams, Wally, where conditioning and scores going into training camp was a competition in itself. So when I look at something like this, you don't want to be embarrassed. You want to show your teammates and everybody else that you put in the work and worked your ass off over the summer.
And Green did say afterwards that he was happy with their conditioning, which I think you're going to say. But
yeah.
However, he walks off the ice at the end of the first, and I just happened to be walking across the tunnel where he comes off the bench, and I think he sees like an equipment guy or whatever, and he kind of smiles and goes, "Leave no doubt." So it was. I think he got a little bit of enjoyment from it.
Yeah, and we were also rolling through before the show, kind of going through, because I always look to, and for a Bruce Cassidy's known as being a hard ass, and he had Keenan as a coach, and he had Daryl Sutter. We were kind of trying to figure out where Travis Green kind of tracked this mentality and this feel to it. But boy, he's had a lot of coaches, a lot of experience. Having time in Toronto with Pat Quinn, Pat didn't really run things this way. But having said that, that was a veteran team at the time. So your approach is always different on, where you in. But what is the influence? What's the feel? But I think it is just the tone. And this is where you take the next phase of, okay, you're in great shape. Now let's get on to the attention to detail. Let's get on to playing with a purpose to play properly here. That's the next phase for the Ottawa Senators. Because as I said, everybody, Wally's, in the National Hockey League, everybody works hard. It's just now as 5-man units, can you play the game properly and support your goaltender?
And they all, not all, but I've heard it enough times over the last few weeks, is being a good pro, right? All the good habits. You've got to show up every day. You got to do this. You got to do. And so I'm waiting to, I believe that has now been hammered into their minds about becoming a good pro. Even Jacques Martin alluded to, I need to make these guys learn to be professionals or understand what it takes. And one other thing before we get to Claude Giroux, I just remember David Perron at one point they ended a drill, and he's like, Griggs, and went over to Ridley Gregg to explain, like,
you are now frozen and your mic's going off and on.
It's just a teaching moment of this is what I'd like to see happen or whatever, or do here and there. You could see just people trying now.
All right. Wally right there is having some type of unfortunately a computer meltdown where he is frozen on the camera, as you could see. And again, going back to his point and some of the things he was talking about, is that group. And you can't fake it. That's one of the things in the National Hockey League or professional sports, or any sports team for that matter. When we talk about leadership groups and you talk about a captain, an assistant captain, you really understand that, hey, you could say whatever you want in the media, but behind the scenes, your team knows. You're not fooling anybody. They know if you're legitimately taking care of yourself, you're putting in the work. And welcome back, Mr. Wally.
So, I crashed. I told you. There's all kinds of stuff that keeps popping. I'm trying to close everything. Anyway,
that's okay.
We'll get through it.
You had at first I'm thinking, boy, is he talking? Is he actually frozen? I think he is. And then it was going in and out, but you're back and you're sounding good.
So where did I leave off?
I'm not sure actually. I was kind of losing my train of thought because you were kind of going in and out. But I think it was just as you said, the fact of being a good pro, that bringing that, not, and I was just making the point when you were off of, hey, you can't fool anybody, Wally, at any level. I don't even care if you're playing minor hockey. You can say whatever you want to the media, you can say whatever you want to the fans, but in your locker room itself, they know if you showed up in great shape. They know how you're treating yourself off the ice, and they know if you're really in it. You know what I mean? That, hey, are you in it to win it? Let's go with that. That's where you're at.
Fair. Okay. Well, speaking of being a good pro, here is Claude Giroux in his 18th season.
Camp 18 feel any different than the previous 17? Day one?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a good pace. Just talking about systems and going through some flow drills and get our legs under us. So it was a good push today.
It's just all about hitting the ground running.
Yeah, I mean, I think guys trained pretty hard this summer. Everybody came to camp in pretty good shape, and the practice that we had for us as players before camp, I think it was pretty high pace. So it helped us for first day of camp.
The reaction in the room, Brady back in the fold, and two goals his dad.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're really happy for him and Emma. He's been talking about being a dad for a long time, and he's going to be a great dad. She's going to be a great mom, and we couldn't be happier for them and Nick Jensen also. When he was at the hospital, maybe I gave him a few advice. He's a pretty emotional guy sometimes, and he did a great job, and I'm not too worried about him.
A lot was made about the skating at the end, coming into camp. I guess your thoughts having gone through day one with skates?
Yeah, I mean, the buzz about the skating test was pretty high. I feel like everybody was talking about it this summer. It was hard, but guys put their head down and skated, and we got it done.
You played for a few coaches in the NHL. What are your early impressions of Travis Green and his expectations?
Yeah, he's very motivated. I feel like he's on all the time, and the way he communicates with the players, he can be relaxed and just talk about life and talk about hockey, or he can be on you if you need a little push. So it's been only one day, so it's a little hard to say, but so far communication's been it's been real good. And at camp you want to get on the same page with the staff and your new teammates, and I think we're on track with that.
Claude Giroux, the wily veteran that he is, looks great.
Yeah, and just a great picture on social media with his two kids. And he had the board like a kid going back to school, 18th training camp. And I just love to know legitimately what's going through his mind, because when he signed here in Ottawa, again, people say, oh, you know what, he wanted to come home. Okay, yeah, but he got a good contract. He's performed very, very well during that contract. But at the same time, he wants to win so badly. And I wonder how he looks the past couple of years of, especially last year, almost like, man, was this kind of a wasted year? I'm here to win. I'm not here just to be home. Now you're going into the final year of that deal. And he's such a competitive person. And there's got to be right in his mind thinking, yeah, I don't want another year here. I don't even want to go in another year where we're close to the playoffs. I want to get into the playoffs here. And I want to have a chance to make some noise.
Simmer, I'm not going to let you talk about Claude Giroux leaving the team until the trade deadline from here. You're banned.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, though, that, and I've watched him work out with Tony Greco, and I see the work that he puts in. I see how proud he is. And what he talked about there with Coach Green is actually, I think, the way Claude Giroux is a little bit, right? I think he knows at times he can crack the whip a little bit, can push himself, can push other players. And at the same time, you can sit and have a conversation. And obviously he can understand what a Brady Tkachuk is going through as a father. So lots of good advice there. And I think he just has to be excited about the players they've brought in, where the team is at. Now let's get to work and let's get some winning some hockey games.
Oh, perfect. Let's do that. So with that, they need a healthy Josh Norris, who today, I'm going to read the quote so I don't mess it up. He skated in the second group. He said, quote, I'm happy to be 100% and ready to go for camp. Yeah. There is no doubt in Josh Norris and his abilities. So I I know he's anxious and excited to get going.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, as we said, I think
Oh,
yesterday in the show,
gosh.
he gets off to a great start, has a great season.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I really
and
do.
Ottawa
And
needs it.
yeah, yeah, they really do. It's interesting when you go through it, Wally, and we have all these ideas or concepts of what the lines are going to be. And something as simple as Cousins being thrown up just for a practice, but it's only fun talk. I mean, I don't take it too seriously, even with the D pairings and everything else. But all of a sudden, if a Cousins was to ever move up into a situation like that, somebody out of that top 9 is moving down and is a pretty good hockey player. So that's some good, healthy competition. And the case of Josh Norris, you just hope for every hit, for every fall, for every one-timer it takes. Yeah, man, oh man, you just want nothing but, hey, and I certainly we'll talk about the poll question, but I just want him to have a full season of health. Get a good year under your belt, and then don't look back as a hockey player. Play through a full year. Maybe play in lots of playoffs, whatever it ends up being, but just say, okay, I can put that in the rearview mirror. Now I can just focus on being a great NHL player. And as you said, he is a very important, not only an important player, but when you have a salary cap allotment of almost $8 million, you need that player to perform. I mean, it's not just about being healthy. You need some serious production out of a player that you're paying that much money to.
Matt, okay, maybe, but once you've paid the money, it doesn't really matter. Now you just need. He's a top 6 player any day. Does the dollar amount matter?
Oh, for sure, for sure. But I'm just saying though, because of the salary cap, when my point is, you still have to look at, allotments of, okay, I put X amount of money into this player. All I'm saying is that you only have so many of those to go around. You can only have so many $8 million hockey players, and that's all. You just want health first, and then, hey, I need him to be a productive player as well.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this at you, assistant GM.
Yeah.
Is it a bad thing if Shane Pinto is your second line center and Josh Norris is your third line center?
It's not a great thing. It's certainly healthy competition. And I thought before the contract was signed, I'm a big Josh Norris fan. I said at the time I'd do a bridge deal because I was a little nervous about the health. I also said I could see at some point where Pinto may pass him by. So it's not a great thing to be paying a guy $8 million to play on your third line. That's not a great thing to have.
But I think once the contract is signed, you just have to move pieces around, whatever it takes to make it win. So if it works better, then just So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, in a perfect world, when you slot your salary cap and the AAVs, guys, I mean, I want to go through where, okay, this guy is my highest paid player, he's my best player, then the next guy, then the next guy. That's all. That and it's never going to be perfect. And in the case of Josh Norris, I have absolute faith that he'll be a good player. And at the same time, if he is in the third line, Wally, and playing good minutes and playing on your first power play, he's going to be a productive player. So I should change that stance a little bit. That doesn't mean, hey, like I said, but my expectations is he's got to score some goals, and you need production. My point being is that last thing I need, and he to me he's a hell of a player. Seems like he's a great guy. I don't need a checker on my third line to make it $8 million. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And like you said, once the contract is signed, so be it. And if Pinto ends up being better, that'll just push the group. That'll make it even better as far as a top 9 versus a top 6.
And all I'm saying is I don't care where they play at this point, whatever it takes to make that option successful, or
for sure.
That's, because he's going to get power play time.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to then the Simmer survey.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to take this out.
Why?
I just
Hear ye.
People are gonna throw things at their screens if this keeps up.
She love it. So anyways, what ended up coming in old Simmer survey, how many goals will Josh Norris score this season? And I am going to go with, and I'm going to be kind of bullish on this based on power play time, based on I think he's going to be healthy. So I'm going to go with number 3. First choice was 20 plus, 25 plus. I think he'll reach the 30 goal mark. So I'm I guess a bit of rooting for him, a little bit thought for him, and then I had the fourth option being 35 plus. What do you say, Wally?
So, God, he's such a good goal scorer. He's a pure goal scorer.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 30 plus.
Okay.
I think,
okay. Yeah.
I think that's his wheelhouse.
Yeah, the only issue I have with the 35 goal season is that the shooting percentage was very high, and it felt like almost every one timer he took on the power play. And it's not like he has a one timer that necessarily destroys a goaltender. He's just very good at the placement of the puck when he ends up doing it. So, like I said, I wouldn't go 35 plus for it, but I think he's got a nice opportunity to stay. And I'm also just kind of, as I said, rooting for him a little bit. Hoping he can be productive. He's going to have an opportunity. It looks like the top 9 will be pretty solid. As you said, I'm sure he's going to get some power play time. So you just want the production out of him. And hey, for the salary allotted, if he's a 30-plus goal scorer, you'll be pretty satisfied. Not to mention just staying healthy, and hopefully he's playing a full 82 games.
I misspoke. I meant to say 50, but 25 or sorry, 50% or 52% think it's 25 plus right now. So
yeah. And the Ottawa Senators went how many years, Wally, without having a 30 goal scorer? Was what Milan Michalek and I believe Spezza, and it was a long time, right?
I feel like 06, 07, somewhere in there.
Okay. Well,
maybe
no,
I'm
it was
wrong.
I think a little later than that, because I think I was here when the Michalek, Spezza, and Greening line played together. In and around 11, 12, or in and around when they had the All-Star game, Michalek and Spezza. But point being,
that's
Mark Stone never. No, I don't think it. 2000 All-Star game was here in 2011.
Oh, sorry, 11, 12.
Yeah. But they Hoffman, I don't think reached it. I don't think Stone did. So they went a long time. So it just my point being on that, it just shows you the respect that you have. It's not easy to score 30 goals. Not even easy to score 20 in the National Hockey League right now.
No, sorry, 2011-12, Michalek had 35, Spezza had 34, and then Alfie had 27.
Okay.
Third on the list. So
when Colin Greening got the big contract playing with those two guys.
I always love the players that get the contract not based on other people, but being put in those situations that allow them to succeed. So like Sidney Crosby has probably gotten a whole bunch of guys paid over his career because he makes everybody around you better.
I think the greatest example of that of all time was Jonathan Chichu. Ended up scoring. Did he score 50 playing with Joe Thornton? Yeah. And then he arrived here in Ottawa, and you're like, I don't even know if he can play in the National Hockey League. So, oh my gosh, you think of, well, Zach Hyman got a payday and is deserving. But let's face some facts here. Go to the net with your stick down, and
you still got to score the goals. This bugs me.
For sure.
Bill McCult was near the net too. He didn't score 82 games.
Oh yeah, But my point being is, if you're trading for that player, there better be an understanding. I say the same thing with defensemen. Back in the day, anybody that played with Chris Pronger looked great, and teams would trade for them, and you'd be like, "What the heck happened?" Well, you're not playing with Chris Pronger anymore. I mean, you have to identify and understand. Hey, certainly, all the credit to it. I'm a big Zach Hyman fan. He was good in Toronto. He's played great in Edmonton. My point being is that if you take that player out of the situation, make sure it's the right fit. And that's been one of the failures here in Ottawa in the past years of putting players into spots that don't make any sense, and they're not going to be productive.
Absolutely. All right. I was supposed to get to taking care of some business a lot earlier in the show, so let's do it now.
Yeah, okay.
Before I get fired. This podcast proudly presented by Bet365. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code DAILY365. Must be 19 years of age or older. Please play responsibly. Don't forget to download the app. And also, don't forget, coming up as soon as the season begins, we will be back with our lock of the day. And someone suggested it on Twitter, and we're going to make it happen. I guess it's on X these days. Yorkie is going to have his pick of the day. So
we'll get the Yorkie guarantee?
Yes. Kind of, yeah. We'll do the Yorkie guarantee, although I think you get in trouble if you use the term guarantee or something.
Okay.
Also, by BEI, Bonisher Excavating Inc. BEI is all about equipment rentals, aggregate topsoil sales, custom crushing and screening, including hot mix paving, heavy civil general contractors in the Ottawa Valley. Give them a call, 613-432-1120 or BonisherExcavating.com. BEI, helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. Please slow down the construction zones.
Yeah, and a little, as Yorkie likes to say, a little curb appeal. If you're looking for that. And I know the housing market's starting to heat up again with the interest rates coming down. So, yeah, you want the opportunity to spruce that bad boy up, give old BEI a call.
Don't forget BEI also. BEI Homes. They have homes in the Cobden.
Okay.
our Renfrew area as well. Anyway,
nice.
Okay. Let's just, and before I forget, more people have come and entered into our draw to win tickets to the opening night. They're 2 100 level tickets. It is going to, it's going to be awesome to go to. I'll see the Tkachuks go at it and to see Linus Ullmark shut down the Stanley Cup champions. So you can enter just by making a simple $5 donation to any food bank anywhere if you want. As you donate more, we'll increase the entries. I'm trying to reply to everybody today. There was a bunch. I just didn't get back. I will get to you as soon as I can. But we're well north of $1,000 in donations, and I think it's a great deal. Yeah. So thank you to everybody that has donated to help out food banks, and we will for sure be giving those tickets away on October the 8th to opening night.
Yeah, and I think if anybody has seen the price of groceries these days, which we all have, it just is incredible. And there's been the last few years, I think since COVID, more and more need for the food banks for some of the different shelters in Ottawa here. So Ottawa is always an incredibly giving city, and just awesome. And I'm sure all the people that donated, even if they don't end up winning the tickets, satisfied that they were just able to contribute and do something nice for somebody.
It is funny you say that, Simmer. A lot of people have sent in just, hey, thanks for doing this. This is a great job. So for all of you that have donated, thank you very much. Quickly, if you're going to Gatineau this weekend for the Sens, we have a new reporter that will be on the scene. If you see him, feel free to stop by and have a chat. We're sending Eric, producer Eric, who's now going to be reporter Eric in Gatineau. He will be boots on the ground. He will have the coveted coming in hot Mike Flash and Mike. I don't know what he's doing. He told me he would do something important. So
now with a name like Eric, and I forget, is he able to speak some French here? Are we talking, is Eric bilingual? Did we ever get around on that?
I've heard him speak un petit peu French.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that'll be awesome.
I could be wrong.
And I do like the fact, and again, you see with Sly Saint Laurent, I think for a lot of times it was lip service. And let's face it, on the Gatineau side, and just like growing up here in Ottawa, you're a Montreal Canadiens fan. But it is nice to see the organization actually putting in some legitimate, because it feels so different now. Like growing up here, Wally, it was kind of the negativity, and there was so much, turmoil between the French and English communities. Now it's completely different. I mean, the amount of Anglophones living in Gatineau, living in Hull, that commute into Ottawa every day, it's just nice to see them recognizing that and making it part of the market.
Absolutely. And that, by the way, Slush Puppy Center, I think it's called the Slush Center.
It is. Slush Puppy Arena. Centre de Slush Puppy.
It is phenomenal. It's an amazing building. They've done a really good job on that. So,
and they're going to tear down the Bob, which is kind of sad for anybody that spent time in there.
It's not sad. Nope, not in the slightest.
Oh, okay.
I will help bulldoze it if you want.
Okay. I still remember playing for the World Junior tryouts in there and just looking at the smoke, like the amount of smoke that was in the building was absolutely incredible. You come out after the first intermission, you're like, wow, I don't think that's fog. I think that's actually smoke. So it's a lot of nice traditions there. Plus my Gloucester Ranger midget team won the prestigious Hull tournament there back in the day. And from a rink perspective, I'm assuming that's what something the 67s are going to get, hopefully looking like that. And that'll certainly be welcome too. There's no doubt that TD Place or the Civic Center, whatever you want to call it, certainly time there for a new opportunity for junior hockey. As it ends up being a little bit on the weather side. So, that'll be kind of cool. And also kind of neat, I see where our friend Tony Greco is training the Gatineau Olympic. He saw them out at his property. He's over there trying to get them ready as they start their season up pretty soon here. So, nice from Tony's side to be putting in that extra work and get to know them. And also we'll start hearing from the 67s pretty soon as the training camp start rolling, and the junior. And then, of course, you've got Dave Cameron, who will be coaching the World Junior team here in Ottawa, which I think is just so welcome, so cool. And we know how well the tournament was supported when it was here back in 2009. So that's going to be something real nice as well. As I guess Wally's getting too many emails. We got too many contests. We got too much going on. We've got too much to give away. So anyways, I think what we'll end up doing here is I'll call it a day. We'll put a little wrap on the show. We've given the giveaways. We've said a shout out to the sponsors, and for everybody, enjoy this beautiful weekend. Enjoy if you're going to the Red Blacks at 3 p.m. Almost going to be a sellout to get out and support them. And for the Ottawa Senators, before you know it, on Sunday, there'll be some exhibition. There'll be an exhibition game. And of course on Saturday. So for everybody, thanks for tuning in this week. Great to see the Ottawa Senators actually hitting the ice. And we're talking about that, and enjoy the beautiful weekend. Take care, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.